right, welcome, Cindy, to the Be the One podcast.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be here, Avery.
Well, I'm glad you're here, too. This is fun. This is your first official interview, but as you're going into a really different role.
Right. Yeah, I guess this is. It's kind of this interesting transitional period of kind of in between, but I'm really excited to get started. I've been meeting with students and teachers and talking about next year and kind of looking at all the end of season events through different eyes in anticipation of what's to come.
That's exciting. Well, you have worn so many hats here at Brookstone. I mean, I'm just in addition to Dean of Faculty and head of Brookstone Summer, I mean, what all have you done here? How many hats have you worn?
Right. Well, first, it has been a lot of hats. First and foremost, teacher. You know, when I came in 2012, so 12 years ago, my first role was as teacher and coach.
Yes.
And in my heart of hearts, I think that's kind of, who I am, a teacher and a coach. And from there, just opportunities became available, and just seeing each one as another way to engage with the community. I worked as an assistant academic dean, so in that role, I helped with testing and curriculum and worked with teachers across divisions on alignment along the years with respect to curriculum. In the Dean of Faculty role, got to be an integral part of the hiring process and recruiting teachers. So I'm really thankful to have been a part of just new teacher orientation and getting to know people when they start to work here. With summer camp, that's been one. I'm gearing up for my last summer at the helm of summer camp. But that's been a really fun one too, just getting to know families and students across ages, both at Brookstone, and that's been an interesting one because it gives us an opportunity to engage families who aren't at Brookstone.
That's right.
And from the community. So that's been a really special opportunity as well, which has connected me to families that might hopefully come to Brookstone one day, right? So most recently in the last couple of years, I've worked in the athletic department, which that's been a really great way to come alongside coaches and also help families with the athletic department, various things that we do with the communications department and promoting all our various athletics.
Right. Well, you've just pretty much touched everything, all aspects of our school you have been involved with in some way.
A lot of ways.
Yeah, in a lot of ways. But we're so excited that you're going to take over as head of upper school next year.
Thank you.
And just so thrilled. And you're going to do a fantastic job. And I'm so excited.
Thank you. It's been an interesting process for me. Stepping into this role, and it's taken a little bit of courage and faith. But the one thing that has made me feel kind of calm is just the amount of support I've gotten from colleagues who have been, we're here for you, we're here to help you, we'll come alongside you, we'll support you. And that's been really affirming. As with anything, you're not alone. But this job, especially knowing that I am not alone in this and in this transition, and to have the support of colleagues and parents moving forward is really special and affirming.
That's great. And Rusty Davis will be coming in as your assistant head of upper school. So that's fantastic because you guys work so well together.
Right. So, Rusty's going to come in as the upper school dean of students.
Dean of students.
Right.
Okay. Correction.
And that's okay. And he has such good relationships with the students and parents through his role as a teacher and a coach. And I'm really excited to lean on him as in terms of working with students and helping just the day-to-day of experience in the upper school to go as smoothly as possible for both our students and teachers.
Right. And y'all are so familiar with the upper school. You know it so well. You love the students. You love your colleagues. And so there's a lot. That's a blessing in a lot of ways that you know this place so well. So what are some of the so two questions. Like, what are you most excited about?
Right.
And then what are some of the challenges?
It's funny if you ask me week to week, it'll probably change. And in the last couple of weeks, the thing that I'm most excited about, to be honest, are the student prefect committee.
Oh yeah,
and would be this working with the students and the student leadership I'm really excited about this group of seniors, rising seniors that we have coming up in the leadership positions. And I've met with the head prefects and Kita and Hank, and then also we had an introductory meeting with our prefect committee yesterday, just kind of to kick things off. And I'm really excited to just work with the students in a leadership capacity and listen to them and give them a voice, and then also hopefully just influence the school in a positive way moving forward. So yeah.
Right. I love that about the prefect system because it's so unique to us, this system, and it really does, the students really take ownership, and they do a lot of great work.
They do.
So I'm excited to see how you take that and continue to grow that program. And Hank and Ankita, they're going to be amazing.
They're going to be great. You know,
I'm
that's
excited
one
about them.
really great thing that, Gary Sullivan has brought to the school, that prefect system, and kind of gotten it to the point where it's a part of who we are, and it's something we kind of, hang on to each year. And I'm, just really thankful to be able to hopefully continue to elevate that program and make the presence more felt on campus moving forward. Yeah.
Right. So challenges. I'm sure that there are plenty that you can see. I mean, there are challenges every day. Being at a school, different things we have to tackle. So what are you thinking? Like, whoo, this one might be a big one.
Challenges. Interestingly enough, for me, because I've had so many different roles. One of the challenges will be honestly letting go of different things.
Oh, I can totally understand that.
And also just, trusting, everyone around me, which is, I do. I mean, it's such a great community, but, letting go of things and really kind of diving in head first and focusing in on, the upper school. It's home for me. It's where I feel the most comfortable on campus, even though I've had different jobs in different spheres. For me, all roads lead back to the upper school. That's kind of where I started. It's where I feel most at home. And so challenges within that, letting go of kind of other things and being able to, kind of let myself focus solely on the upper school will be a little bit of one. Challenges just to externally, right? I mean, just culture and how it is these days, and just kind of the challenges of whether that's cell phone use or different things kind of that are influence our students that are kind of beyond our control. Just, you never know what the world's going to be like and how things are going to change, and the unexpected. When you look at the things that, Gary endured over his years, when he came, no one saw something like a COVID pandemic in his future. So you never know what's going to come at you. And I think just the challenge just lies in the unknown of what's ahead. And don't know what those things will be, but you just kind of have to be prepared.
You do. And I think you will be. I know you will be. I have full confidence in that. So you mentioned that you were a teacher. So tell us about what you taught, and then tell us a little bit about what brought you here to Brookstone.
Sure. So I've pretty much taught math in the upper school since I've been here. And that was kind of when I stepped into this role. I came in as a AP statistics teacher. Butch Chappell was retiring, and there was an opening there, and it kind of fell into that. And I was really, I grew up in Georgia. I'm from the Atlanta area, and ready to move family to Georgia, but not really excited about going to Atlanta, to be honest. Was really looking for a smaller town in Georgia. And when I came the first time, it just kind of felt like a great fit, both for personally, for my children, and, kind of fell into that, not knowing how long I would be here, and here I am 12 years later. So,
so it fit.
It fit. It seems to have fit, and just really the thing that I've been, one of the things, not just Brookstone School, but also just the commitment to community here is really strong. And while I don't have tons of extended family in the area, I think it's really neat that so many people do, and that there is such a commitment to this community for generations, and the involvement there, and just the impact that families have made on the school is really special, and I'm thankful to be a part of that.
And seeing Brookstone through the eyes of as a parent. I mean, you are a parent, and you had one graduate from here, and you still have two precious twin boys here. And so, but that's a different perspective.
Sure,
So
yeah.
what's it like seeing that, seeing Brookstone through the eyes of a parent?
I think as a parent, sometimes my kids get tired of me here. Kind of reiterating to them, kind of the sentiment of, do you understand how many people are championing your success day to day, and trying to get them to, seeing that from both sides. I probably have a slightly different view because I see the behind the scenes, but I recognize and appreciate how much people are pouring into my kids.
Right.
And, and I'm constantly trying to get them to, a lot of people worked hard for you to have this opportunity and are working for you to be successful each day.
Right.
And the way that you respect that and you you show that you're grateful for that is to, put forth the effort, and that's kind of the way you respect those opportunities. So that, kind of seeing that and being grateful for the influence that teachers, have on my kids, and, grateful for that as a parent, and then, of course, as a colleague as well.
Right, right. So how do you feel that Brookstone prepared your daughter as she left?
So she just finished her first year at Georgia Tech.
Woo-hoo.
And had a great first year and is home now. But, Brookstone gave her a lot of not only just academic, just knowledge and experience, but a lot of opportunities to lead and to be independent. She was really involved in athletics and the arts, and had a lot of opportunities to kind of grow in those areas. And I feel like going off to college, it gave her a sense of independence to kind of tackle whatever came her way this year. So and also one thing we talked about, she was frustrated. You had a big college, big university, and when trying to give her the courage to email a professor, to reach out to a TA, and kind of reminding her you can advocate for yourself even at the collegiate level, and having been in a place where that was very comfortable and common and welcome for students to advocate for themselves with teachers, have conversations with teachers. I feel like that's a piece that she's taken even to a large university, to be able to reach out and engage faculty. So
I've seen that before too in other alumni who say the same thing, that there's some students, their friends, that they would never go to a teacher.
Right.
And yet it's like second nature.
Second nature.
Like go to the teacher.
Go to the teacher.
Like you said, advocate for yourself.
Right.
Ask questions.
Yeah. And that's something I think Brookstone does really well, in terms of putting students on stage, from a young age, and their ability to engage with adults. I always think it's interesting just how confident our students are in engaging with their faculty and building relationships. And I think it's an important skill that they take with them when they move on, and that kind of mutual respect that exists between students and faculty.
I agree. Sarah Francis even alluded to that in her speech, and how there's so much camaraderie that it could borderline people looking from the outside would say that seems disrespectful, but it's just so collegial.
It's very much so. And I think that is something that, is unique to the independent school experience. And exactly. I smiled when she was chatting about that, because absolutely, you might, as a teacher, be taken aback when a student might say something to you that you kind of do a little double take. Was that okay? And then you realize, no, this really is out of a place of love and respect and mutual admiration. So appreciating that. And I definitely appreciated her comments there.
I know. I thought the same thing.
Yeah.
So, okay. So, what are some of the traditions or the practices that you have loved about the upper school? And then what are some things you're like, oh, that would be fun to put in place? If you can even tell us. There might be things that are rolling around in your head.
I got a bunch of things rolling around in my head, so I gotta hold back. Don't want to. If I speak them, then it's like, oh, held accountable. But the traditions I enjoy, the senior faculty cup and our homecoming week, and the things that student life does to cultivate community. I love. The dress up days. And while I haven't always been the best at dressing up, and I appreciate it, and everyone else, and it just makes it for a fun, how do I say this? a level of involvement and spirit that I think strengthens the school community. So I enjoy those traditions, and I enjoy the coming together around various events throughout the year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. I agree. It's something that, the academic side of school is so important. That's why we're here. But all these other things just add to that.
Right.
They just make, those relationships, again, it fosters academic growth when those relationships are there, and the fun traditions just kind of spur those on. So
Freshman retreat, I haven't been in a
love
couple
that.
of years,
Yeah.
and I'm really excited to go
yeah.
fall, just with a completely different perspective and see it, through different eyes and take part in that. That's a really special thing that we do to kind of, assimilate both new students to Brookstone, but then also our 8th to 9th grade.
Right.
And it's also great for new teachers as well.
Right.
Thankfully, this year we don't have a lot of turnover. We have a really solid faculty that makes that transition a lot easier.
Right.
But yeah, the freshman retreat is a big one.
That's so much
Great
fun.
tradition.
So,
Yes,
so you won't have an advisory next year for the
that
first
is
time in a
correct.
while.
Yes.
Yes. What did they call y'all? Totes goats?
Yes, Totes Coats, that was one. My advisory was relentless with me because I wore so many hats. They would give me a hard time because I wasn't always the most present advisor, but they teased me. Once again, that's one of those things. I was like, yeah, I know. We could kind of joke about that in a loving way.
In a loving way.
In a
yeah.
loving way. But they were very kind and also very supportive and encouraging through this process as well. So
that's fun. That's fun. Okay, so what are some of your areas of focus, if you will, for next year?
I mentioned the prefects. I think that's an important one. Is kind of and even how to best utilize that structure and kind of as student leaders on campus. That's a big focus for me. Grade chairs, getting to understand that's a unique thing to Brookstone.
Right.
The importance of that grade chair role and
So important.
just even with the loss of Dee Dee Branham and just her testament to that to the power and influence that role plays in our school has just really I've been really thinking about a lot lately and just and what an impact that person can have and kind of I'm meeting with the grade chairs tomorrow. We're gonna talk through some things and looking into the as we go into the summer and coming back into the fall and that piece I'm excited to work with the grade chairs in terms of just how we can continue to impact and nurture students.
Right. It is so important, and I agree with you. Just the impact that role can have, that person in that role can have on their students. It's just immeasurable.
Immeasurable,
So, for sure. Okay, I'm shifting gears to our core values because we've been talking a lot about that this year. And I love the core values series. I hope that will continue next year. It was just phenomenal. So we have 7 core values here at Brookstone, and I like to read them out. Loyalty, courage, wisdom, honor, service, respect, and leadership. And I loved this year, I don't know if that was unique to the senior class, but having chosen 2 core values to take with them. I don't recall having heard that before.
I don't know either.
So
I'm going to have to find out.
Yeah, I think that's a good question to ask because I thought it meant a lot to me to hear that they chose loyalty and respect.
Sure.
So, so is there one that in particular that is important to you? And why is it important that we continue to emphasize these values to our students?
Right. So the core value series that we did this year was just kind of a way to engage those ideals with our student body in a slightly different way through having both faculty speakers and speakers from the school community. And it'll look a little, I'm looking at how we're going to include those next year in our assemblies. I think it'll look a little bit different, but no doubt that the core values will be very evident in with our student body and kind of how both in the curriculum and then also in the assembly. So that's another kind of piece of how can we do a better job of kind of bringing those core values to the surface, and that awareness. So it's hard to pick.
I know,
right?
I know.
So, I will say I'm talking with our English teachers about our common read next year and various activities and things that we're going to do, and that common read is going to be very it's going to be very obvious the connection to our core values and asking the students to reflect on those in the context of what they're reading this summer. So that's a great way to kind of incorporate those. Within that, wisdom is one. I mean, the book we're reading, it's called Ego is the Enemy. It's by Ryan Holiday, and he's a Stoic philosopher, and it's a real interesting book that I think our students hopefully will will resonate with them. And it's got small little chapters, and it highlights various people from history, from athletics, from everything from athletics to the arts to pop culture, and hopefully it'll spur on some conversations with various values. Wisdom, respect is one I think that for me transcends a lot of different the other values. You talk about respect both as I respect you because you did this great thing, and I have a certain level of admiration for you because of something that you've accomplished. But then also just respect on a more day-to-day, like I respect you as an individual, and therefore I'm going to treat you with dignity and that sort of thing. So respect for me is one that we talk about a lot. I think it permeates everything that we do every day. Yes. So it's one that kind of, in my mind, encapsulates a lot of what we do. And then, of course, honor. I mean, that's a huge part of who we are, with the honor code and what we expect of our students and within our community, and just that kind of sense of, being who you say you are, and that sense that honor transcends just, I will not lie, cheat, or steal, but there's a certain amount of honorableness that is just your kind of like your day-to-day behavior and how you carry yourself that transcends just those typical, well, I'm not going to cheat. Right. So it's more than that. I think that is one that I see us talking a lot about, with respect to how students just, conduct themselves and kind of navigate their day-to-day challenges within the upper school.
I love that. Just becoming people of integrity, and just raising them up. Right. To understand what that means and live it out. And, and I spoke to the 8th graders, the Beta Club. That's right. I was like, who did I speak to? And we talked a lot about just that idea that you make so many choices every day. And those choices are a direct reflection of your values. And, every little choice you make, no matter how, big or how small, ultimately is a reflection of who you are and the values that are important to you. And then obviously will direct the person that you become, and so what kind of person, do you want to be? And those choices reflect those values, and that's going to determine who you are. It's so true. It's so true. Okay. So shifting to 2 questions I love to ask people. Reading. We've already talked about some books, even in this conversation. But if you had to pick a favorite book, 1 or 2 favorite books, or a book that had the most impact on you, what would it be?
So many books.
So many books. I know.
Okay, so recently I reread Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl.
Oh, yeah.
So he is a Holocaust survivor, and his book, just this idea of, our purpose and, and just an exploration of that is really insightful and has just been really impactful on me personally. On a completely different note, the other book that I read a long time ago just holds a special place in my heart is Lonesome Dove. Oh. Good old Western, Larry McMurtry. Just this fun book that, highlights the trials and tribulations of friendship and a journey across the Old West and all the things. It's just kind of a different perspective, but it's a book that has just always meant a lot to me. So
that's awesome. That's awesome. Okay. So now advice.
Yes.
What is some of the best advice you've ever been given? And then if you don't have something that sticks out at that, what is advice that you would give to our students?
I will say this, and this kind of plays into that. So, I've been thinking a lot about leadership lessons according to Dee Dee Branham, right? Yeah. And and thinking a lot about her and, what advice would Dee Dee give me?
Yes.
What advice would Dee Dee say? And I think for her and just seeing how she engaged both her colleagues and the students, it would be, be honest with people.
Right.
The truth is kind. And sometimes it's a little scary, but sometimes you got to shut the door and tell people the truth. And I think that piece of advice, I think that's something she would say to me.
Right.
Going into this job.
Yeah.
And that's always, I'll probably think of her and think of that a lot.
Yeah.
And the other lesson is, from her would probably be don't take yourself too seriously. That it's okay to laugh. It's okay to have fun. It's okay to, it's going to pass. It's, we don't need to get worked up or bent out of shape. And that sense, from her that, this was a woman who was not afraid to laugh, not afraid to turn something that other people might have thought was not great into something that was positive.
Right.
And I definitely will think of that. Think of her with that.
Yeah, for sure. She's going to be missed.
Yes, for sure.
Well, thank you so much for this time. And I'm so excited. Like I said, I can't wait. We're going to do a fantastic job.
Thank you. Stuart and Sam Elijah.
Sam
we'll
Elijah,
get
yes.
that grade
Little
through.
sophomore crew.
Little sophomore crew. They're going to be juniors, and it's hard to believe. I'm not ready.
It's so hard to believe. Like, I think I just caught my breath there for a minute when you say it like that.
Say it out
They're
loud.
juniors.
They're upperclassmen.
Yes, they're going to be upperclassmen.
Yes. But, it's funny. Like, one of my joys is just seeing the utter transformation that these kids experience between 9th and 12th grade.
Right.
And it's
So
so easy. I don't know. I say this all the time. I don't know why we're surprised when kids act like kids.
Right.
I don't know why we continually to get surprised. They're going to, but we get to coach them through that and just and see the growth. And it's a joy to kind of and privileged to see those seniors walk across this stage when they graduate and to kind of think about what they were like 4 years ago when they first stepped foot in the upper school and we just weren't sure, and to see them navigate all those experiences, and it's really rewarding to see the young adults that they become, and I'm thankful to be a part of that process.
Right. Oh, for sure. It's just really special.
It's very special.
And how far they've come.
Yep.
And and that's one thing I love too about graduation, especially the faculty sitting all together. It's just collectively cheering these kids on. Like, we are so proud of them.
We're so proud of them.
It's just precious.
Yeah, it is, for sure.
Anyway, well, thank you again
for
being a part of
welcome.
this, and you'll have to come back.
Okay, will do. Thank you.